Our new Foreign Secretary, the remarkably sort of entertaining David Lamy, previously called President Trump a neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath in a 2018 opinion piece for Time magazine. Lamy, a Labour lawmaker from Tottenham, was appointed Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs on Friday following Labour's victory in parliamentary elections. He's previously addressed his 2018 criticism of Trump and pledged to work with the former president if he is elected in November. But can the special relationship survive a Labour government, particularly if Donald Trump wins in November? Theo Usherwood, what do you think about this?
I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Labour, and I think it's going to cause real friction. And I think, especially with the election of Nigel Farage, Donald Trump doesn't care about formalities. He doesn't do the playbook that Whitehall in London will want. He won't go through number 10. If Farage is on the opposition benches, he'll become his link with the UK. And that's a huge problem for Keir Starmer and for David Lamy. I was surprised. I like David Lamy. I think he's got lots of attributes, but I was surprised, given where the American elections are potentially heading, that Keir Starmer, there'd been some question marks around it. I was surprised he decided to promote David Lamy to that position, given what he'd said previously. Nonetheless, he's in the post, and he's going to have to work with Mr. Trump, or his administration rather, if he becomes, if Mr. Trump wins that election. But I'd have thought that Keir Starmer might have been more cautious. He had a very warm phone call, which was publicised on social media with Joe Biden. But you can just look at the opinion polls. You can look at that debate what happened last week between Biden and Trump. It's by no means guaranteed that the Democrats are going to win this election. If anything, it's likely that they're going to lose this election and Donald Trump's going to be president. And we have a special relationship with the United States, and it's very difficult to see how that special relationship continues for Keir Starmer and for David Lamy when Nigel Farage is in office at a crucial time when, of course, Russia is threatening, is at war in Ukraine, and Europe needs support.
Indeed, Susie Stride, you can like Donald Trump, not like him, but he might be about to become the most powerful man in the world in November. Is that a problem for Labour, given the track record of the Foreign Secretary, David Lamy?
I don't think it is. You know, look, David Cameron was our Foreign Secretary and he made very derogatory comments about Donald Trump in his memoir, and then he became Foreign Secretary and no one was worrying about that. Or we were talking about that on GBNews, and I think we were. I think it's all calmed down. I know David Lamy very well. I think, you know, let's not underestimate people's intelligence and ability here. I think Keir Starmer and David Lamy will rise to the challenge. Ultimately, we have more in common with America than we don't have in common with them. You know, look, I've done a lot with Iranian refugees, and you've got some pretty evil dictators out there. You know, I don't agree with a whole lot of stuff that Donald Trump says or does. However, if I had to work with him as Foreign Secretary, obviously that's not my position, then you would
never say never.
Then you get on with the job. You know, and there's this thing, isn't there? Like, we keep saying this, leadership is about serving. And if it's about serving, in many ways, you have to put these other things to the side. And I definitely hear what's being said here. Maybe there'll be some things that have to be rolled over. But I think...
Is it not a worry that Donald Trump congratulated Nigel Farage on Friday morning after winning his seat, but did not congratulate the Prime Minister Keir Starmer?
No, not really. I mean, I wouldn't have expected anything different from Donald Trump, to be honest. Look, it's the way he is. However, if Donald Trump does win, now I'm going to be honest with you, well, I won't comment on that. If Donald Trump does win, I think that what you will see is he knows, because he's an intelligent individual, he knows he's going to need to work with the Prime Minister of Britain. And so I think, you know, both of them, you know, and also there's that thing, isn't there? It's like, what was his name? George Bush and Tony Blair. In many ways, you could say, well, how are they going to get on? But they got on. And I think, you know, they'll sit down, they'll have a cup of tea or a beer or whatever people do, and they'll look into each other's eyes and they'll find a way, and people do find a way.
Well, you have to hope. Many watching and listening, though, will take the view that a Conservative Prime Minister is far more likely to get a trade deal with Donald Trump than Sir Keir Starmer. Is that fair?
I don't know what this thing is about Keir Starmer. I think he's the epitome of a good statesman. I think he'll do very well for the Labour Party. He'll do very well for the country. And I personally think he'll have a good relationship with Donald Trump, because they're completely different to each other. And I think he won't be bullied like the rest of them. He won't be kind of taken on by this facade. I think he'll do well. And I think there'll be a good relationship. I think, you know, let's give him a shot. Let's see what happens.